Welcome to Ode to Games. My name is Logan Plant, joined today by Zach Ross. What's up, Zach?
Not much.
A lot is up, actually.
No,
A
not
lot
much.
is up.
Zach.
I've done nothing this week. It's been a rough week.
It's been a slow week.
Anything up with you, Kevin Valine, who we're also joined by?
No, nothing much here, but there's a lot going on with one big game that just came out.
There is, my spidey sense has been tingling on Cyberpunk 2077 for a couple weeks, and it's far worse than even I imagined. You guys have both decided to pass on it, and for good reason, too. The Cyberpunk launch just keeps getting worse and worse, and just earlier today, the day that we are recording this, it was pulled from the PlayStation Store. Right now, you cannot purchase Cyberpunk 2077 on PSN. It is gone. There's not even really a sign of it. You can search for it right now, and it's just not there in any way, shape, or form. So to rewind a little bit prior to that, the game just runs terribly on current gen, which we talked about last week. When
that was as far as we got last week, right? Was just the game
because that was
garbage.
Launch day, I believe, when we talked about it last time, and it just runs terribly. It crashes Xbox Ones and PS4s. A lot of people in the last week seem to deal with pretty significant crashes on PS5 as well. And it seems like the console it's running best on is Xbox Series X right now, is a place where it seems like people are actually competently playing this game. But PlayStation is pretty much a no-go. Yeah.
Yes, it is an Xbox exclusive right now. So.
It is. And then, of course, the PC version has bugs, but it's playable. And then Stadia. Yeah, and then Stadia, it actually seems like the best place to play Cyberpunk right now if you don't have a high-end PC, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, this launch is just terrible to the point where CD Projekt Red is offering refunds for people that purchase the game, and Sony is on board now and is launching a way for people to get refunds for their copies of Cyberpunk 2077. And then Sony also announced that they're pulling the game down. And I think I messaged this to you guys. This is another delay. It is a post-launch delay. I felt this way last week when they're like, we're going to patch it in February. This huge patch makes it
February. We'll have an update.
Yeah, the phase 1, phase 2, and it's like, okay, so you're basically soft delaying the game till February. Now they're offering refunds, and the game's not even buyable on PlayStation. It's another delay, a post-launch delay for Cyberpunk 2077. Yep. This is a terrible launch. What are your guys' thoughts?
Essentially, what people have right now is the open beta, and they'll be able to play the actual game in February. Yeah. And that is kind of sad, but I am very glad that I was able to control myself and hold off, because I was also not getting some good vibes from this launch. So I think I'm just gonna wait for a more PS5 oriented release, which I think comes out around March.
Does it have? I don't think it has a release.
It has no release date for the next
just
gen.
Next year, I think, is what they're aiming for.
Yeah.
But man, the way things are going right now, it's like, how much are they going to have to postpone that just to get the version that they have now to run?
Yeah.
Man.
It's just sad to see.
Yeah. This launch was so bad that on Twitter, Anthem, Fallout 76, and No Man's Sky were all trending because people were talking about how the Cyberpunk launch is worse than those three launches, which are notorious for just being pretty terrible. I think Fallout 76 is probably the worst of those. And people say Fallout 76 is actually better now.
No, I mean,
Anthem
with all the crap they shoved
it.
into that in terms of the microtransactions, I and all the other crap that's still in there, I wouldn't call that a good game. But it's better than Anthem, which is just nothing.
Yeah. Absolutely nothing. But I think this takes the cake. This is the worst AAA video game launch I have ever seen. And I frankly just think it's unacceptable that they pushed this thing out the door. And you got to feel for the devs that worked on this thing for years, only for upper management to decide to just throw this thing out the door when it clearly was half-baked. Like, that's just a really, really disappointing decision that they made, in my opinion.
Every decision's been wrong. There were decisions before the launch and before the review embargo that were not good. You had the crunch culture that was there to get the game out. You had the problem with trans representation in the game. Those were all there before. But man, once the review embargo was coming on, once the review embargo hit, and we were seeing footage, everything was bad from there, because it was we're not going to show anything from the console versions of the game. Oh,
for good
you
reason.
Can't show any of your own footage, even if you're on PC. If you've run into bugs, you can't show that. You can only show the footage that we have provided as CD Projekt Red. Then the game comes out and it's a mess, and they're like, "Oh, oops, we shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have made the reviews like that. Our bad." And it's like, no, you deliberately did that. You knew
it's manipulative.
You knew that, one, the game on PC was buggy, and you didn't want people to see that, and you knew the console version was a broken mess, and you wouldn't let that be shown anywhere. So you had that, and you had their response, which is just like, "Oh, we're sorry," even though you did that deliberately.
And they're like, "Oh, we clearly were avoiding the warning signs of how this thing was on console." How? How did you? That it's just BS. It was manipulative. It was to capitalize on the millions and millions of pre-order copies they sold.
Right, because it was more on PC, but still, I think it was over 40% of pre-orders were on console. 40% for a broken game, completely broken.
Yeah.
So,
it's just really gross, especially for how much hype there was for this game. Like, this game will be good eventually. Like, people have been pointing to The Witcher 3, saying that game was also broken when it launched, and it's one of Zach's favorite games of all time in the state he played it in 2020. So this game's going to get there too.
After it came out, but I don't want to wait 5 years to play Cyberpunk.
Yeah, like it's just unacceptable. It's really gross, and I hate how it was just to manipulate the consumers to get those pre-order numbers, to get those dollars in before the end of the year. This game should not be out this year. This game probably should have seen a similar delay to Halo. Like, this thing shouldn't be coming out until next fall.
Yeah, the state that it's in, for sure. But even after the review embargo, even the stuff with the refunds has been a mess, because they come out and they're like, "Oh." One, they say "Dear Gamers," and that seems kind of, I don't like that.
Dear Gamers.
Really stupid. But they're like, "Oh, if you're unhappy with your copy, just hit up your retailer, or hit up Xbox, or hit up PlayStation for a refund." Not telling them before, because then you go to Xbox or you go to PlayStation and you get denied. Or if you go to a retailer, you've already opened your copy, put it in, and realize the game's broken, you go back and you're like, "I want a refund on this." And they're like, "No. But CD Projekt Red told me you could." It's like, no, that means nothing. Like, they just come out and they're just like, "Hey, refund this," even though that is not possible in any way when they sent that out. And then you just have PlayStation, where it's just like, screw this. Just, here's your refunds. We're pulling this thing. Just, I assume it was a response to that. And then there was that whole quote where they were like, where people were asking, like, how in the world did this get past tests? Get past the QA testing at the end to get certified? And then they're just like, "Oh, I guess they were just assuming that we would fix it beforehand." And then that shows bad on Xbox and Sony for just being like, "Oh, we assume that you'll fix it and that you'll take out the epileptic seizure thing, make the game run okay," and then they don't, so it looks bad on them. Every single decision they make is a mess. Every single one of them.
Terrible launch. And yes, as far as Sony pulling it down from the store, it makes sense. You don't want a product that you can essentially refund at any time. You don't want that sitting on your marketplace, because a consumer could buy Cyberpunk on their PS5, slog through the whole thing, bugs and all, and then return it for a refund, and essentially have just played it for free, because they're currently offering those refunds. So it makes sense that you don't want that on your storefront. You don't want the hassle of, for the next couple months, dealing with people returning this thing. You want to say, okay, for anyone that got it in this first week period, you can return it for a exception digital refund, which doesn't happen that much. You can't really do that on digital storefronts once you have started a game.
I feel like they need to have at least a slightly more lenient refund system than they do, which is basically nothing.
Like, what does Steam have? Like, if you played it for less than 2 hours?
2 hours. And I assume there's also a period of time, like 2 weeks or something.
do you guys know how I know that? The Steam thing?
Oh, it's Sonic Forces, right?
Yeah.
People could beat it in less than 2 hours.
If you skip all cutscenes, you can complete the game and then return it.
Yeah, something like that, would be acceptable
Yeah.
because their policy now is, I believe, if you even start downloading the game, let alone if you open it or not, you can't refund it, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, it's if your download has started, I
Yeah.
think, is currently the point of no return
Which is
on
wild.
PlayStation. Yeah, it is. That's
thought
a
on
topic for another
PlayStation,
day.
It wasn't. It's only if you open the software.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Because I had a friend who ran into a similar problem where he accidentally like bought something twice or something like that, and then he opened it and they wouldn't return it because of that.
Okay.
Or refund it rather.
Interesting.
Well, 100%.
Yeah, but whatever it is,
there's no refund. I'm not 100% sure on the downloads, but I think that's how it works.
So this is a rare case that for people who have played it, they can return it. And it totally makes sense that Sony just doesn't want that on their store. I wonder if Microsoft will do the same because apparently the game is okay on Xbox Series X, not on Xbox One.
Well, yeah,
absolutely
they also have
not.
the best experience on console, simultaneously the worst experience on console.
Yeah.
The Series X, it's okay. Yeah. If you have a base Xbox One, it is dreadful.
Yeah, and we talked about this last week. I don't know what this means going forward for games coming cross-gen because we just saw with Miles Morales, it was great. I mean, on PS5, you have the 4K, 60 FPS, ray tracing, all that, and then it's still playable on PS4 just with longer load times. Like, we're only a month into this gen, and we already have an example of cross-gen working great and it not working whatsoever. So... Yeah. I do wonder where that's going to go with something like Halo Infinite or Horizon or, say, of God of War, if they were planning to make that a cross-gen game also. I really do wonder if this is going to have an impact on that at all.
I don't know. Well, for those examples, I think it's a little simpler because it's just PS4 and PS5, whereas here it's PlayStation.
It was built
Xbox,
as a PC game,
it's
right?
PC, it's Stadia. Like, it's on so many different platforms that I think it was... a much bigger challenge than, say, Miles Morales, where you're a first-party studio making cross-platform cross-gen between PS4 and PS5. But it is a question. You do wonder.
And why didn't they just release this on PC this year and delay the console version? Because even though the PC version is buggy, it's playable and it reviewed very well on PC. But the console version is just. It's not unheard of to have a game come out on PC and then come out on consoles later. That happens a lot. That would have been totally fine in this situation. But
I mean, in hindsight, that is definitely what they should have done. Some delay, at the very least, for the console versions is what they should have done, and it's technically what they're kind of doing now. But yeah, hindsight's 20/20 on that.
So this game was delayed 4 times this year. Now is that what we're saying?
Technically, yep. I'd say
4
it.
times.
April to September, September to November, November to December, December to February. I'm calling this a delay. This is absolutely a delay, in my opinion. It's the closest thing to it after a game is launched.
Unfinished game and are saying that it will be fixed in a few months. That is a delay.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. This is what the discourse has turned into for one of the most anticipated games of all time. Yeah.
But I think it also says something about just how dangerous hype can be for a game over hype, because I feel like even that PC version where people are like, oh, this is a good game, I feel like even then people were let down by the game itself, not necessarily all of the bugs and then everything else going on console. Even then, I think the hype kind of killed it just because they were promising so much and it just built up so much with those delays. People were just getting more and more excited. And even that game that's there that runs well on your high-end PC, it seems like is not living up to people's expectations.
Seems like it's a great open world game, not anything groundbreaking, revolutionary. No. It's a great map game, is what I've heard. So
well, for me personally, every time there's a delay, the longer it takes for something to come out, the more my hype goes down. Personally, I'm in that vein of things. So I wasn't super. I used to be way more hyped for this game, but the longer it took to come out, the less and less hyped I got for it. So I wasn't super upset when it came out with so many issues. That's why I was more willing to wait to see instead of picking it up day one. But
I'm sure there are a lot of people that are like that. Yeah, but I think there's also a lot of people that with every delay they're just thinking about it for a longer period of time, and that also gives the developer more time to talk about it and release more hype stuff, marketing and things,
all that stuff.
So it can go either way depending on the person. But I do think that hype can be incredibly damaging to some of these big games.
Absolutely. And I think this game was incredibly overhyped.
Last thing I want to say on this before we move on is I also feel like I wonder if this will have any ripple effect on the AAA gaming industry as a whole, because I feel like the last few years there have been more and more like people saying that AAA development is kind of reaching its breaking point with just how difficult it is to create a AAA game by modern standards. These games take forever to come out. Crunch is basically mandatory at this point, and I wonder if this is going to maybe be a turning point where AAA studios start to reevaluate their processes and maybe churn out slightly smaller, less ambitious experiences.
This has to be the peak. How could it get any worse than this launch? This has to be an example of make smaller games that take less time to make, pay employees more to work for less time so there's no crunch culture. I mean, just it's getting so bad, and it's making these games come out in disgusting conditions. They're made in disgusting conditions. It's just killing the industry. It really needs to be reevaluated. Yeah,
Cyberpunk 2077. What a story!
Yeah, that's why it's groundbreaking, is that it will forever change the industry at how bad it was.
And now I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens by the time we record. Every week I feel like we're going to be getting something new regarding this thing. I don't think it's leaving the news cycle anytime soon.
Yeah, so that'll be a fun one to follow. Or maybe not fun, interesting one to follow over the coming months as we see the story continue to unfold with Cyberpunk and CD Projekt Red. Let's move on, though. Nintendo had an Indie World presentation this week, and it was okay. It wasn't one of their better ones, in my opinion. I think that was kind of the consensus on the internet as well. But there was some cool stuff shown off. Spelunky 1 and 2 are coming to Switch next year. Super Meat Boy Forever comes out next week as a timed Switch exclusive. Among Us is out on Switch now. Grindstone, which was an Apple Arcade game I've actually played some of, which is really great. It's coming out. And then, Kevin, you wrote down a few other highlights. What from the presentation did you want to make sure to mention?
Very, very Valet was probably one of the main ones. Where I was like, oh, this looks like a bunch of stupid fun. Like, it reminded me of those, like, parking games from when I was a kid, like those Flash games, but way more in depth and way crazier. It wasn't anything like mind blowing to me, but it definitely out of the ones here, I think it kind of stuck out to me personally of just like an interesting concept, and I'll keep my eye on it.
I couldn't help but think of Overcooked and Moving Out. It looks like it's the next game in that kind of vein of wacky multiplayer. Crazy stuff. One of those is phenomenal. Overcooked is great. Moving Out is not so good. So see how this one turns I'm interested in this one too. Yeah.
And then I think it was Alba Wildlife Adventure was one of the other ones where it was just like, this looks really relaxing. Like
that was a Kevin game for sure.
Yeah. Where you're just walking around and looking at wildlife and talking to people. Again, it's not one that I looked at and was like, oh my God, like I need to get that. But it was like, oh, that's a game that I want to keep my eye on. Those would probably be the main ones.
Zach, did you catch anything from this?
Yeah, there was a couple things. Logan and I are big fans of Super Meat Boy. Great platformer, so it's good to see Super Meat Boy Forever coming to Switch. I think Among Us coming to Switch is a really smart move on their part to keep the game alive.
I believe it was already number one on the...
Yeah, it's doing really well on Switch. I'm not surprised. It's still riding the hype, so very smart move, but... Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot that I saw.
Yeah, Cyber Shadow is one I've had my eyes on for a little while, which is published by Yacht Club Games, the maker of Shovel Knight, not developed by them. But it's like a pixelated 16-bit 2D action platformer. Looks really cool, so I might try that one out. But yeah, the highlight and Spelunky. I'm excited about Spelunky 1 and 2.
I honestly was surprised that the first one wasn't out on
yeah, I know. Yet. That's such a Switch game. Like it was shocking that's not on there. Like that's one. I'm not a huge fan of roguelites, as you know, but Spelunky I think is a game I could get into because it just looks really cool to me, and people loved the sequel also. So I will probably pick both of those up on Switch. I was interested in Spelunky 2 this year, but decided to hold out in case it ever did come to Switch. So yeah, those were just a no-brainer when they showed those off. I'm like it's about time that those are making their way over. But yeah, nothing earth-shattering. The big one more thing was that Among Us was out on Switch, which doesn't do much for me, but I recognize how big of a deal it is and it's a timed console exclusive on Switch. It's only on Switch. for the time being. So that happens. Nintendo's also doing a direct the day this episode comes out, showcasing more of the theme park in Japan, which is set to open in a few months.
Because the world is.
What a weird time to open a theme park.
It was going to open before, and it was already delayed. Also,
just like
going
Cyberpunk.
Back to the indie world for a sec, Rip Sports Story. That thing is
no sports
missing
story
in action.
We've seen plenty of trailers. We just need to release it.
Like,
yeah,
we were talking about it when this got announced. It was like, oh, that was the one that we were looking for, and we're like, oh, a release date or something would be cool. And I was just like, even an update or something. I don't know.
Where's it at?
Something to be like, we're still working on this. Has their Twitter done anything? Logan, I know you.
Well, the last update that we got was the delay, which was only 2 months ago, so it hasn't been missing in action that long. It was missing for months before the delay. It was like 6 months of nothing until it got delayed.
At least it's an update.
Yeah, I'm hoping for maybe summer. Like it was supposed to come out summer this year, maybe summer of next year.
It's a summer game.
Yeah, I want it. I want it real bad. But yeah, no sports story. Also, extremely okay games, makers of Celeste and Towerfall, recently talked that they are very excited about what they're working on next. So excited to see that whenever they're ready to pull back the curtain on that one too.
Two hits so far.
Oh yeah, two. I love both. Two
massive hits.
Yeah,
we sunk a lot of time into Towerfall.
We did. Yeah. Let's move on, though. NES, SNES online games coming out, including Donkey Kong Country 3. Just a random drop, as usual.
Yep.
Let's see. What were the other games in this? Donkey Kong Country was really the main one, and then the other ones. I'm like,
that's kind of what they do, right? They pick like a big game that everyone wants, and then throw in a bunch of garbage.
I did not recognize a single game other than Donkey Kong.
I actually think it's kind of cool because it's like, you get that one big one that you'll know, and then maybe some cool pieces of history that you've never tried before. Yeah, or some garbage. The Ignition Factor, Super Valis 4, and Tough Enough.
I know all of those.
And then the NES is getting Nightshade. Yeah. But all three Donkey Kong Country games are now on SNES Online. And I think I might try them next year. I do not like the first Donkey Kong Country, but I've heard that the second and third one are really, really good. So,
but I'm curious say the first one's really, really good, and you don't like it.
Yeah. I think people think the second one is the best one of the three. Okay. But I just really dislike the art style, so it probably won't get much better for me.
Yeah, if it's the art style, that I don't think they change that very much between games.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try them out though. I'm gonna go back to them.
They're free.
But
they're on the service.
Yep, they are free. Yep. I was just charged $80 for PS Plus and Switch Online because they expire like the same time. So it's a big hit when that happens.
Damn, you got
once a year.
You got to get the cheap ones. I
know
2 years of PS Plus for $68 recently.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's the way to go.
That's pretty good. And then our last piece of news for the day is a big Mr. Sakurai presents Sephiroth today. And it was really good. I love those presentations. They're just so entertaining to watch. You just watch Sakurai play as Sephiroth for like a half hour, and it's just a good time. First off, he started with the Mii costumes, where he revealed that Tifa, Barrett, Aerith, and Chocobo are all going to be Mii costumes, and Gino from Super Mario RPG on the SNES, who is for some reason one of the most requested characters for Smash. It's really weird. I think it started with like a meme like a decade ago, and it's just built up into this. It's snowballed into this huge thing.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
People are going to be upset that he's a Mii fighter.
He was trending. He had like 20,000 tweets today because people were ticked.
Yep. All right, that's not good.
Personally, I was happy. I was like, sweet. That opens up a slot that will not be taken up by him.
It will not be Gino.
Yeah.
It will be Sora.
Finally get
but the Sephiroth video was really cool. He has a lot from Advent Children, the movie, which is really weird. Like some of his moveset is actually based on Advent Children. Like when he's holding up Mario by the sword and it's actually his overalls. That's a literal shot of something he does to Cloud in in Advent Children in their final fight together. And it's just really funny how much of Advent Children is in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Because the movie's not good, but it's like a cult hit among Final Fantasy VII fans.
Do people actually like it?
I don't know.
I didn't.
I don't really know. I did not at all.
I feel like I thought the consensus was that movie's garbage.
Yeah, maybe people in Japan like it more than people over here do. I have no idea what's going on with that. But his moveset's really cool. His sword is super powerful. I got a chance to try him out. I'll talk about that a little bit. But I want to talk about his stage real quick. His stage is so cool. It is called... Oh, man, I'm forgetting the name of it. But it literally spoils how the entire ending of Final Fantasy VII goes.
That's cool.
Sephiroth's stage is the climax of the original Final Fantasy VII.
Okay, so it's the place. Well, I guess we can't spoil it. It's the place.
Yeah. It's the mountain where you can
Sephiroth. Cool.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
And the stuff that happens in the background is basically Cloud and friends descending into the mountain, which is what happens in the game, and then all this major story stuff that happens right after that. And it is one of the coolest stages. It is super cool. And he was, even in the video, he was like, if you don't want to know what happens, then look away for the next few minutes. But this is a 20-year-old game. It's like, yeah, well. Yeah. But the stage is really cool. The character is really cool. Yeah, it was a good presentation. So, and he's out now. I didn't even talk about my favorite part, which is that they have a Sephiroth challenge, which is available from now until the 22nd. The 22nd is his official release date, but right now, if you purchase the Fighter's Pass or Sephiroth, you can go in and challenge him as a boss fight. So he's a boss you're fighting. There's easy, normal, and very hard difficulties. And if you beat him, you get access to him 5 days early. And that's just so cool. It is so cool because Smash has always been about fighting characters to unlock them. And with DLC, that went away. You buy a character and they just appear for you. So I thought it was really cool that they brought that back with the caveat of, oh, you just get him a few days early. If you don't want to do that, you get him a few days later down the line. So
if you beat him on easy, do you unlock him, or is it just the very hard?
Yeah, if you beat him on easy, you get him. So you don't need to do much. Yeah. But I just thought it was a really cool concept to just log on and have to fight Sephiroth to earn the right to fight as
challenger approaches. It's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I hope they do that for all DLC characters. But
from this on.
And his classic mode is really cool too. It's a boss rush where you fight all the bosses from World of Light back to back to back. So like the Rathalos, you fight Giga Bowser, Ganon, like everyone that's in Smash, you fight in his classic mode, which is a really cool route. But yeah, it was a cool presentation, and now the wait begins for the next one.
Yep, as is normal. Just gotta.
Yeah,
it's all about the next one.
That's our last news story, Kevin.
All right, why don't we hop into what we've been playing? May as well stick on Sephiroth for at least a little bit. I know, Logan, you had a chance to play as him for a little bit before the show. What are your thoughts on Sephiroth as a character in Smash?
He's really cool. I haven't gotten a ton of time with him yet, but I like his moves a lot. He has a special. His neutral special is a lot like Heroes, where you charge up the fire, and there's like 3 different tiers of it. And that's a really good move, really powerful at its third phase. Yeah, he's got a lot of really unique moves also. Like his side B attack is basically about like sending this like dark magic on a character, and then it like swirls around them, and you can have up to 5 little balls of swirling energy swirling around one opponent, and then they all explode at the same time. So it's like depending how many you got on them before they explode is how powerful the move is. That's just a really unique move. The reach of the sword is insane. It's a little concerning for multiplayer. I've only played as Sephiroth. I haven't played against another human Sephiroth. I did beat him on very hard to unlock him, which wasn't very hard. It took me like 4 attempts, I think, to unlock him. So no one should probably have a challenge getting him on easy. So it's not really a challenge to get him early, but it was just a really cool thing to do. But yeah, I'm a big fan of him. But so far my impression is more that I love the stage. I played on it a few times. It's really, really cool. And they added 9 more songs, which was, I think last week I said my biggest hope was that now there's 11 songs instead of 2.
2, okay.
Yeah. And those songs are also usable on Midgar, on Cloud's stage.
Oh, nice.
So that has been fixed. That was a glaring issue with Cloud's inclusion in Smash Bros. So yeah, it's just a really good package. The Mii fighters are going to be really cool once they go up for sale in a few days. And then Sephiroth is really cool. It's good to have another big villain in Smash because there's just not that many. So yeah, I've been super on board with it so far, and I'm excited to play as him more in the next week.
Nice. So what else have you been up to beyond Sephiroth for the last little bit before the show?
I beat 2 games this week. First, Foxyland, which is a 2D platformer.
Could not tell you what that game is.
It's, I believe it was on iPhones and it was ported to Switch, and it's just like $5, and it's a really basic platformer, and it was fine. And there's a sequel that looks more ambitious. I might actually play at some point. It's like $6, but it was cute, and I beat it, and that put me at 46 games beaten this year.
When you mentioned that, I looked it up. Because I was like, what in the world is this game? And everything I got was like, oh, yeah, here's your easy platinum, or here's your easy gamer score, or whatever. Like, all right,
world's easiest games. Platinum.
Yeah, it was not long. I actually bought it a year ago. So it wasn't like, God. Yeah, I've had that game for a long time, and I just put it down. And then the main thing is I beat Super Mario Sunshine. I did it. So I have now finished every 3D Mario game. That was the last one I'd never finished. And I liked it a lot. I think I liked it more than I thought I was going to, just based on the reputation that game kind of has of getting really garbage at the end and having some really stupid sections. And I think the main reason for that is a lot of the most notable stuff you don't actually have to do.
Right. Yeah.
I'm really glad that Kevin played it first and told me you just need to beat Shadow Mario in each world, because I really didn't struggle that much. There was one level near the end where I really struggled. It's a platforming level where you lose FLUDD, and you have to let the Piantas throw you around all the chucksters. That one was frustrating, and it was like 3 a.m. and I'm like, I decided to beat this thing tonight, and it tested my will a little bit. And then the last level also tested my will, when you have to jump in the boat and then use FLUDD to sail through the lava. And if you so much as nick a rock, the boat sinks and you die instantly. That was really frustrating. But for the most part, I had a good time with it. I liked most of the worlds. There's a couple levels in the Noki world that I really disliked. Cleaning the eel's teeth was terrible when you get sucked in. Basically, the swimming. The couple of swimming levels that chucks in at the end are really bad.
Yeah, because it just doesn't seem like... FLUDD just works really weird underwater.
Mm-hmm. It's so much easier underwater for Mario to move vertically. It's so hard to get him to move forward. He's like, whoop, and he can't just swim forward, and it's really aggravating. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I ranked all the 3D Marios after I finished it, and I actually put this one above 64. I liked it more than 64 just because the camera in 64 is so brutal. And honestly, I had more trouble in some of 64's later levels than I did in Sunshine. So I liked it a lot. I think if you are willing to put up with some crap, there's a really good game hidden somewhere underneath there. I liked it a lot. I think the setting and the music and the places just do a lot for it, because it is just such a unique game compared to the other Mario entries. So I'm glad that I finally got around to finishing it.
Are you glad that you fought Gooper Blooper and Petey Piranha a number of times?
No, I am not. I am not glad about that. That's frustrating. How many times you fight the Blooper specifically? It's just an annoying fight. You can tell the game was rushed in some places, namely how many repeat bosses there are.
And how many blue coins there are.
But I guess that Mario actually kind of always works that way. Like the repeat bosses, like in 64, the 3 main bosses are Bowser, and it's just harder each time. So,
but I don't think Gooper Blooper ever changed. I think he's the same fight every time.
I think he is too.
Because you pull off the arms the first time, then he gets mad, sprays the goop, then you have to spray his face, and then
then you pull the cork out. Yeah,
every time. They didn't change it at all.
Yeah, Petey does change. Petey is different the second time.
Flies. Yeah.
I
don't know what happened with Gooper Blooper.
Yeah, but it was solid. Like, if you just played Super Mario Odyssey, Sunshine would be a rude awakening. Like, Odyssey is a very easy, joyous game to get through, and really, it's maybe the only 3D Mario that's like that. 3D Land and 3D World are pretty fun, but 64 and Sunshine can be brutal at times, and then even the Galaxy games have some cheese in there.
Those are more when it's like, hey, use motion controls for like pole things or the rolling ball.
The pole stars, yeah.
Yeah, it's got its share of weird crap. Yeah, I think Odyssey is the only one that really is just enjoyable, smiling ear to ear from start to finish.
Yeah. Really, in my ranking of the 3D Mario games, except for 3D Land, which is different because it's on a handheld, I think that every 3D Mario is better than the last, because my ranking was just chronological order from most current to the oldest, because I think Odyssey is the best, then 3D World. I like Galaxy 2 more than Galaxy 1, then Galaxy, Sunshine, 64. And so, yeah, the 3D Mario series just gets better and better as time goes on. It is. Yeah,
it bodes well for the next one.
Yeah,
for sure. So I really, really did enjoy Sunshine, though. I had a fun time, and that puts me at 47 games. So I have 3 to go to get to 50,
and
I have 2 weeks to do it.
Good luck. You got those short games, right?
Yep.
The plan. What is the plan?
Well, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I am in the middle of Wind Waker. I'm playing that with my girlfriend, and I love that game. So that's been fun. I'm going to beat that, I think, before the end of the year. And then I just have to pick 2 more games. We'll see. Right. Yeah, and then I'm excited. In the first show in January, I'm going to read all 50 that I beat this year.
I'll read all 35 or so of mine.
Yep.
Because I gave up around 35.
Zach, you still got time.
I don't.
And then Zach and we tried out Fall Guys Season 3, which launched this week.
Yes,
so Zach, you can take it from there and talk about this new season.
Yeah, so Fall Guys just updated Season 3. The winter update, it's all Christmas themed. They added 7 new levels. They're all wintry, snow-based levels. Most of them are races, which is really good because I think
that's a lot more than the last update, right?
Last update
had 4.
4.
I think there was 2 races in the last update, and then 1 team and something else. I don't remember.
It was the single Hoopsie Daisy game.
Oh yeah, the Hoopsie Legends or something.
And then it was the wall guys where you have to push the blocks to climb the walls. And then there was the new egg one, which sucked.
And the new
egg game was so bad. And then the medieval race.
I think that the last season really turned us off of Fall Guys for a little while there, but we booted up this season just to check it out, and we had an amazing time. I've expected a resurgence of this game for me and Logan for some time now, and I think this is going to be it, because from all the new levels that we played, we didn't get a chance to play a couple of them because they just never showed up. It is random. Yeah, it's not soccer. We haven't played soccer in a while, which is good. But the new levels that we played, for the most part, they were the new winter-themed races. They were a really good time.
They're really good.
They are really good, and it felt good to get back into it. There's a new a team one where you have to roll the balls down and collect snow like you're building up a snowball. That one was okay.
Yeah.
And then there's a new one where you have to collect penguins, which is like an egg-based one. We haven't gotten the chance to play that one yet.
Yeah, that's the one we haven't done.
Yeah, it's the only one out of the 7.
Stuff going on. It's concept.
And a couple new final stages, which were very fun. I got the chance to play one, and Logan got the chance to play another. I think that neither one of us got the chance to play that the other one played. I did the new hexagon one, and Logan did one of the spinny. I forgot what it's called.
It's rolled out, the one where it's like you just stay on.
It's coming out.
No. It is not, as they're rotating in opposite directions, but there's only 2 of them, and they're constantly rotating in opposite directions, and they get faster and faster. And sometimes there's gaps in them, so you have to jump over the other one, and it just goes until there's one person left.
The new hexagon is basically the same as old hexagon, except all the layers are together, stacked, and it takes longer for them. So they each have like 3 bars of health for them.
Because it's blocks of ice, so like the ice is cracking.
So it's a lot more hectic because people aren't falling through as consistently, so you're always on the same level as people. So it's a lot more difficult to get around, I would say, because everyone's on the same level. But yeah, I've had a really good time hopping back into it. I'm excited to play some more. I think this is a good resurgence for the game that I worried was dying, because I do like Fall Guys quite a lot. So that's always nice.
Yeah, it was really fun. The new races are phenomenal. Like there's one where you're climbing this huge mountain, and at the end you have to jump into this giant fan that shoots you up to the goal. That one's really cool. Oh, we didn't talk about the ski one. There's one that's kind of like
skee ball,
the hoopsy one where you are on this huge ramp and there are 3 wheels on the ramp. And there's bronze circles, silver circles, and gold circles, and you get 1, 2, or 3 points depending on which tier you jump in. And you just ski down this hill, leaping through the rings, and you qualify once you get 15 points. Yep. And if you fall off, you go back to the top, and the points get better as you get down lower. So you want to try and make it down lower. But that one was really fun. It's really stressful when you have like 13 points and there's like 5 slots left. That was a really good one too.
Yeah. Some incredible new games, really keeping. So right now with the 7 from this update, the 4 from last update, all the updated original levels, this game has a lot going for it.
There's like almost 40 games now.
It's a lot of games. Yeah. So it's a good time to hop back in if you put it down.
Yeah, it's just going to get better the more seasons there are because the rotation's always going to feel fresh with and all the variants they have too of the different levels. Like I think Fall Guys is in a pretty good place now. Season 2 was a little rough. But I think now that I think they learned a lot. They did that survey that I filled out where it's like, what do you want to see? And I was like, more racing games and more new games each season. And that's what they did. They added 7 new games and 4 of them are races. So it's really cool.
They understand that the races are the most fun.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Like 99% of the time. Yeah. And if they make the majority of the new content for the seasons a good amount of races and then a couple of extra little ideas that they have in some final stages, I think that'll set themselves up pretty well.
Yeah, and updating stages and some quality of life improvements that I think they implemented sometime in the last season that we didn't really get a great chance to look at since we gave up playing. But, just whenever you die, you automatically spectate your teammate this time. I love that. That was like something we complained about from day one.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is nice to have, but it's good being back in it.
Yeah, Zach and I are going to play after the show tonight.
You never know. It might happen.
We're gonna
and then other than that, I haven't played a lot this week. I did some more. I'm still working on that Minecraft server after I platinumed it with a buddy of mine.
What are you still working on? You got all the trophies. Are you going for the other packs?
No, that would be way too much effort. There are so many trophies for that game with no payoff.
No plan.
We're just having a good time playing it. There's a lot of content in Minecraft now compared to 10 years ago. It is,
God.
It is hefty. So we went a ways off, just made a second base in the middle of like 3 new biomes that I didn't know existed. So there's a lot to explore and do now that we haven't covered yet. So put some more time into that. And then other than that,
I saw there was a new update for Minecraft, so hopefully it's a little bit more stable on PlayStation.
I booted it up today and immediately crashed. I don't know.
Okay, so that new update didn't do anything.
Dang.
So I'm not sure what the update did, but it runs fine. It's still got some weird laggy glitches at times, but it's never been as bad as that one time we played together.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I could not tell you what happened.
That was really weird.
But for the most part, it is okay.
All right. Well,
and then, other than that, I briefly picked up Tekken 7 again because a new character came out a few weeks ago. I forgot to pick her up. I got her because I have to have every character in this game for whatever reason, even though I barely play it anymore. However, I was very happy when this character came out because she is one of my favorites, even though she's technically the daughter of one of my favorites, but she plays the same. But the thing about Tekken is that any woman character who was before Tekken 3 was removed from the game because there was a time skip and they can't have old ladies in a fighting game because they're not attractive enough, apparently. Yeah, so they have to have, cryogenically frozen characters who are frozen for 20 years, or the daughters or children of those characters.
But the dudes can be old.
The dudes are old. It doesn't matter.
All the dudes are old with like some ripped features. Yep.
But the nice thing about the non-canon tag games is that they just bring back those old characters the way they were because it's non-canon. So
so it doesn't matter.
So when they brought back the character that just came out in Tekken Tag Tournament 2 for the PS3, she played super cool. I loved her a lot, so she became one of my mains. And then they never brought her back. And then they just brought back her daughter. So I got the chance to play as her. Super cool. Love her a lot. Don't know how much I'm going to play more of that. I usually just try out the character for a little while and then put it down until a new character
really
comes
fun.
out.
No, I'm not
That was
play that.
That was fun. See you in a couple months.
Yeah.
But that game is still being updated 3 years later. I think they're at the beginning of Season Pass 3. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I just it's one of the best fighting games out there. It scratches an itch whenever I need it. And I've always been a fan of the Tekken franchise, so I'm invested, I would say.
Nice.
Kevin, what's the Yakuza update?
Yeah. Well, first, Zach, when you buying that game, Yakuza is on sale for $35. It is
$35. I don't know, man.
You've got nothing to play.
$29.99.
You've got nothing to play. Play Yakuza, please.
Yes. All right.
$35.
Okay. So if I start Yakuza now and I finish it on January 2nd, is that my first game beaten of 2021?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you didn't beat it this year.
That feels wrong. All right, fine.
What does it matter?
I'm telling you, get it. I know it'll be cheaper than $35 eventually, but I also have a feeling it'll get more expensive before it'll get cheaper. Anyways, not a whole lot new. I put in a bunch of hours, but I really just spent all of that in the side business activity. That's literally all I've done. Because I was like, I didn't have a bunch of cash. And I'm like, oh, this is a good way to make some money. And then you just make like a bunch of money from that, as you do in most of these.
Yep.
I'm kind of torn on how it works, though. I think it's one of the weaker ones in the series, to be honest. Just with some of the design decisions that they make. It reminds me a lot of Yakuza 0 because
in the real
estate. And it's similar here. Not in the sense that in that one, kind of the frustrating part about that was that you didn't know where these buildings were, and you would spend all your time running against the walls trying to find a spot where it was like, oh, you can buy this property. So that was weird. They don't have that here. They have a marketplace where you can purchase the plots of land and the businesses. But I think the issue is that they only give you a very small number of properties to work with. Even when you upgrade it to the max, you only have a max of 6. So you start out with 4, and then as you work your way up, or you start out with 3, and then you work your way up and you get 4, the chance to get 4, 5, and 6. And one of those is your starting plot that you can't get rid of. So really, at the end of the day, you're only working with 5 plots of 5 different businesses. So what I was finding was that when I first upgraded to the next area and had to buy new properties and kind of juggle my old ones, sell some, and then, hire some new people, it was a bunch of fun because you're trying to figure out how best to optimize the people that you have. How it works is you have the businesses, and they have 3 different needs that need to be met. It's like product, service, and notability. And each person that you can hire has different skills for each of those. And the leader of the area, all 3 of their stats are used, but then the other 2 will only allow 1 of their stats to be used. So for some buildings, it'll be like one person can only use the notability, or one person can only use the service, or it changes based on the building. So when you first start out, it's fun to try and figure out how best to manage your workforce and see like who works best in what location. How am I going to upgrade all these buildings? But I found that once you get about halfway through each stage, I was done. Like I had the most optimal way to make money out of what I was given. I didn't have the chance to buy any more properties because I had already filled up all of my properties. You have the opportunity to hire up to 50 people, but you only need 18 to entirely fill out the entire 6 plots of land, or the entire 6 properties. And all of the other characters are just dead weight because you're still paying them to just sit around. So it's like, why in the world is that even an option to be able to hire that many people? So you just get to a point where all I was doing was hitting the progress to the next day, make my money, do that twice, go in, and you have to make sure that all your employees are happy. So you just give them like bonuses and things, and you have to go through all of your characters and give them all bonuses. And then you have shareholder meetings, which I also found in a similar vein, where at the start I was trying to figure out how best to optimize the what characters I wanted to bring in, because there's like certain weaknesses. It's kind of a rock, paper, scissors thing But once you have your loadout, I never really changed it. It worked fine from start to finish. So it was fun when you were like upgrading things, and that's why I wish that there was more of a chance to have more properties like there was in Zero, where you could just buy up the whole town and have millions of properties. Here it's only 6, and I've got so much money that I'm like, what am I going to do with? Like, what am I going to do with this? My employees are all completely like maxed out. They're working great at their locations, and all of my locations are upgraded. And so it's just like, I've got a bunch of money that I'm not going to use. So that was disappointing, because when it works, it's a bunch of fun. I had a lot of fun trying to mix and match and figure out how best to optimize the properties. But I just wish they gave you more properties to work with. That would allow you to keep on using the money that you've accrued, instead of just have this huge boatload of money that you can't use because it's not tied to your character's bank account. You only get money after each shareholder meeting. So it's just a bunch of money that I'm never going to be able to use. But it had its fun moments. It's got character development and a bunch of side stuff that you unlock. So it was fun for what it was. I just wish they kind of went more into it in terms of what you could do there. And that's honestly all I've done really this last week, was just getting through that. I finished it the other day, so I'm done with that side story, and I'll get back to the main plot here probably this week. Still don't know when I'm.
What chapter are you on?
I think it's chapter 11. It's either 11 or 12.
Okay, so you're probably closer to the end.
Yeah, I'm in the second half for sure. Going off of the trophies and how many of like the you know which ones are the story related ones. I think there's probably another 4 or 5 chapters left. I'm assuming there's like 16.
Okay.
And as you go along, they get faster and faster as the story just like kicks in, and you're just doing the story the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm hoping I'll finish it before the end of the year. We'll see about that. But yeah, it's still a good game, despite qualms with that and other.
Where is it right now? Where would you put it on your ranking of Yakuza?
Logan. I think I would be putting it in the second tier. So I've got tiers where like 0 and Kiwami 2 are in this like top tier.
Agree.
Those are my 2 favorites. And then you have Yakuza 5, Judgment. I also put in there, and Yakuza 6. Yakuza 5, 6, and Judgment. And that's where I put Like a Dragon right now, is in that group. And then in the lower group, I put 1, 3, and 4.
4 and 3.
Yeah. So yeah.
So 3 tiers.
Yeah.
It's the second tier.
Masterpiece, really good, and pretty good.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So it's not bad. I think it's a really good game. And considering that they radically changed the gameplay style, I'm impressed with how well they pulled that off, despite some qualms. I need to finish it before our end of the year stuff, because we're gonna get started this week with the Odie's pre-show. So we were talking about this last week. We didn't get to it because we had a bunch of other stuff to talk about last week. But starting this week and for the next couple of weeks, we'll be having Odie segments here at the end. This week, it's going to be we're going to start it off with 2020 games that we didn't have time for. This was the one that we were going to do last week, but we didn't.
But we didn't have time for it.
Yeah, which is fitting, which is very fitting.
It worked.
So let's see. How do we want to go round?
I think
and
we
round
can each just rip.
One?
Sure, yeah. I think this can actually be pretty quick. I mean, we haven't played them, so we don't have that much to say on them.
So yeah, me and Zach at the top of our list, we have one, so we may as well start off with that. We both have Spiritfarer, number 1 on the list.
I'm the most excited indie game right now that I want to play the most. It looks so peaceful. I just need to chill and play that game.
At this point now, I'm just waiting for its first sale, I think.
Honestly,
Whenever that thing goes on sale on the
It was on sale on PS4.
Oh, on PS4.
Yeah,
I want it on Switch,
I saw it. I want it on Switch too. That's why I didn't buy it.
They know it, and that's why it's only on sale on PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly.
That game is totally my vibe though, with the chill atmosphere, being able to like build up this boat, and then kind of the like sad story overtones or undertones. Overtones.
Undertones. Just tones.
I think that is just right in my wheelhouse for games. So
yeah,
once I finish Yakuza and get some of these other ones off my plate, Spiritfarer is one that I'm really excited to get to.
I'm gonna play it as soon as Kevin plays it. The second he picks it up, I will pick it up.
Well, I mean, if you're picking it up when it's on sale, I'm going to be doing the same thing. So
that's true.
But Zach can't pick it up when it's on sale.
Oh, right.
No,
So
I
what
have
he
to
needs
pick
to
it up full
do
price.
is I'll tell him that it's on sale and pick it up. And then the day that sale ends, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to pick this up." Pick it up for full price.
I have a problem.
You do, Zach. Just follow our advice, please. All right, Logan. What is your number one pick?
One game Zach and I share. My number one pick is Crash 4. You know I love a good platformer, and this one I just missed it this year. I've never really played the Crash games except in Uncharted 4. And I played Sackboy. I played a ton of Mario this year, but this one slipped through the cracks for me. I think it looks phenomenal. I think I've
through
been on
the
the
cracks
fence
for a lot of people.
It did. It
went
did
under the
not.
radar
Really
after it
did
came
well.
out. It did not do as well as it was probably hoping.
I think this would have sold like nuts if it was a $40 game, but I get why it was $60. Like I'm not offended it was $60, but if this had been $40, like the trilogies were when they both came out, I think it'd be a much different story for how well this game would have sold. But yeah, once this thing drops in price, I'll definitely pick it up. I do not think I'm going to subject myself to the first 3 before I dive into this one, because I'm just excited about what looks like a really solid creative 3D platform. And Zach wants to play that too.
Absolutely. I've always been a big fan of Crash. Played the trilogy a couple years back. Definitely was interested in it, but $60. There was other stuff at the time. Kind of forgot about it. Just like Logan, I'm probably waiting on a sale.
Man, imagine if they waited a year, they could have sold that for $70.
Yeah, that would have been even better.
Yeah, they could have. Yeah.
All right, the game that you shared with Zach. What do you got?
Crash 4, right?
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that Crash 4 was on Zach's.
I put it at the very bottom of my list.
Just
my list is jumbled. There's not really any rhyme or reason to it. It's just what came to mind at the time.
Miles.
Well,
Morales,
now let's talk about the game that. Yeah, I was going to say another game you
on
share.
mine and Zach's.
I share so many games with you people.
Zach, are you? I know that you were going to be playing. You were planning to play it.
All right.
When it
so
came
here's
out.
the thing.
Are you waiting for PS5 now?
At this point, I think I'm just gonna wait for PS5 just so I have that 60 FPS ray tracing. I don't know if
they release an update now where the ray tracing
where you can do both.
60 FPS are available in the same mode.
So that just came out. So I think that at this point, I'm expecting to have a PS5 within the next 6 months. So I think I can hold off that long on Miles Morales. I'm excited for it. It's nothing super pressing. It looks really good, but I think it'd be a better PS5 experience, especially since I want to have a bit more of a library built up when I do finally pull the trigger on the PS5.
Yeah, it'll be cheaper then. Most likely. Yeah. I think.
What are you waiting on Miles for?
I'm kind of in the same boat on that. I'm also not as big of a fan as you guys are. I know that. I mean, I waited a long time for the original Spider-Man, but at this point, sometime next year, I'll have a PS5 sometime next year. So it's just like, I've got other stuff to play. I mean, there are other games on my list that I own that I should probably play first. And I do feel like at this point, it's probably just worth it to wait for whenever I do get a PS5, because now with those new updates that they came out to make the performance even better on PS5, it just seems like that would be the place to go, especially if you are planning to get a PS5 in the near future. So that's the thought process on that, I think. Yeah.
Another game we share, Kevin, Xenoblade.
Devastating.
Yeah. I wanted to play this for a while. When they first announced, I'm like, oh, that's super cool. It finally looks good. And then I just had so much else I was playing when that came out. I know that game is huge. I put in 40 hours in the Wii version and still had a bunch left to go. And it's just like, man, it's daunting. I don't own it, but you own it.
I do own it, and I started it right around the same time I was starting my full-time job, and I'm like, I just don't have time to commit to this right now. It was daunting. I do want to play it though, so I'll get to it eventually. I didn't put it on my list, but also Persona 5 Royal I picked up, and it's just too much.
I forgot you own that.
Too daunting, but I really want to play it.
It's a fantastic game.
Massive. Terrible game. Don't play it.
Dang, that hurts.
Yeah,
Persona 5 Royal. Yeah, with Xenoblade. I love the second one's great, and the DLC for that was also great. So I'm sure that I'll enjoy. And what I played of the Wii version was great, so I'm sure I'll enjoy it. It's just a matter of where does that fit in.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of other stuff that I do want to play on here. I think we've gotten through all the ones that we share, so we may as well just rip through the other ones that that are on our list. I guess I'll go first. Right. Sakuna, I own it. I'm gonna get to it. It's next up on the list once Yakuza is done. So, and now that Cyberpunk is just an absolute mess, there's no concern for me as to what's coming next. Sakuna will be prepared for that, so I don't have to worry. Ghost of Tsushima, everything that I've heard from you guys about it,
phenomenal
sounds great.
Game.
It's another one of those where it's just like once there's some sort of lull in games, that'll be one that I'll be looking to pick up. And then the one other one that I have, Mafia Definitive Edition. It just looked really good. And I've had my eye on the Mafia games for a while, specifically 1 and 2. So that's another one where once I've got some free time, I'd like to dive into those games.
Nice. Yeah, you talked about that one a number of times.
Yeah.
About Mafia.
Yeah. So now just wait for a sale. Once I get that trilogy on PlayStation.
The other ones on my list, Star Wars Squadrons. I'm in a weird place with this one. It's cheap. Like it's $20 basically all the time now, but I still have not received my adapter to use my PSVR on PS5.
You ordered it?
And I've been
you ordered that through
I just requested one. You just sign up, and I did, and I just haven't gotten one. And I can't request another one because you have to put in the serial number on your PSVR to like prove that you have a PSVR. Yeah. And I just haven't gotten one. So I need to like contact like support or something.
One, I guess I have two questions. One, have you been seeing other people get theirs? Like
I've seen a few people get them. It seems rare right now. I think a lot of people are the same.
I guess the other question would be, is there a way to like track your order, or is it just like in the ether?
No, it's just like, hey, thanks. We'll update you when we send it, and they haven't.
That's really frustrating.
Yeah, and I really want to play. I've been wanting to play. Like, there's been a number of games. I'm like, man, I should play that, and I don't want to rehook up my PS4 to do that. I want to do it on the PS5. Be easier. So yeah, I'm just waiting on that. But I want to play that game in VR because it looks really cool in VR. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, a big story of 2020. I own it.
You got it.
Yep. I do.
This year.
So yeah, it came out in January. So I'm excited to play that one at some point on the PS5. Xenoblade, like I said, Immortals, Phoenix Rising. Still excited about this one. Hopefully going to be playing it on PS5 over my holiday break. I'd really like that to be a big open world game to sink my teeth into when I have a week off from work. I'm looking forward to that. And then Ori and the Will of the Wisps. It's on Switch. I'll probably play it there. Game just looks absolutely gorgeous. The stuff I've seen of that one, it looks better to me than the first one. So I don't know if I'm going to play the first one or just dive right into that one. But yeah, I feel like that game flies under the radar as one of the best games of the year because it came out so early, because it's an Xbox game, just a few other factors that people kind of seem to forget that one. But that's my list. Zach, what else do you have?
All right, I've got Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Get on it.
Next one up. Probably going to play it soon. I'll wait till it's $60 so I can buy it. Cyberpunk 2077. I will be waiting until a dedicated PS5 version comes out that runs. Don't care how long it takes.
Man, what if they get the PS4 versions running well, and then they release the next gen version, and then the next gen version's broken?
I would be devastated. That would be
something.
Do it again.
That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
And then finally, Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
On that.
I'm planning 2021 to be the year of 3D Mario for me. I'm thinking that 2021 is going to be a big Nintendo year for me, where I finally dive into some of those Mario games or just Nintendo games in general that I never played. Either just growing up or in recent years. So all the 3D Marios from 64 to Odyssey. I still need to play them all, and hearing you guys talk about them, and I know they're good. So I just gotta buckle down.
We've got 3D World coming out.
We do, which we are playing.
I've got 3-ish months to pick this game up. So
Do not pull a Zach move here and wait until the sale is over, because when the sale is over, it is over.
It's gone. It'll be expensive on eBay, and I ain't about that life.
No, I think you are. I think you do that.
Okay, I am about that life, but I shouldn't be about that life.
Be. Learn from your mistakes, please.
That's the last one on my list.
All right.
Yeah.
So here's a different one that we can wrap up cuff real quick. Ode to 2020 games that we want the other co-hosts to play.
Okay. Let's do that. My pick is Zach.
All right.
Play.
I hate you. All right. Mine's Ghost of Tsushima for Kevin.
That's a good one.
Ghost of Tsushima for both of you?
Mine will be Ghost of Tsushima for Kevin, and for Zach.
Oh, I have to pick one for Logan too.
Probably you just got to get Mario. You got to pick up Mario 3D All Stars before it is.
I know.
Yeah.
What does Logan still need to play?
My pick for Logan. This is kind of a cheap pick because it came out on PC earlier, but it came to Switch this year. Bug Fables.
Oh, yep, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good answer.
Zach,
what even came out this year? I'm panicking. You know I can't handle pressure like this.
It's true.
It literally kills me.
What game did you play this year that came out this year? Logan.
That's what I'm saying. What did I play that Logan didn't play? I just play whatever Logan tells me to play.
Yeah.
We did play very similar things this year.
That's why it's stressing me out.
Yeah. Crash 4. that'll be your pick for me.
I guess technically I don't have to have played the thing that I want Logan to play.
Yeah.
All right, Logan, play Cyberpunk. Let's go.
Oh God.
Wow. Wow.
No thanks.
Now you have to do it. That is the rule.
Contractually obligated.
Yep.
Oh God. All right.
Screw it. I want Logan to play Yakuza 0. I don't care that it didn't come out this year. Just play Yakuza 0.
That is a good recommendation.
I'll actually say what you just said about 2021 being the year of. I think 2021 because I really do. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could pound them all out in a year at a good pace.
You can do
that.
It.
Could be my. I'm not gonna do the 50 game challenge again. Like I'm done with that.
Yeah. It was a good 1 year feat. Yeah.
Yeah, and also there was no way in hell it was feasible unless I spent the majority of the summer inside because of a global pandemic.
Yeah, that helped things out.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
Yeah.
So but what if I was like, yep, I'm gonna beat all the way up through Yakuza 6 in 2021? Could do it.
You could.
It could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, a Yakuza game every 2 months or so. And we'll see.
I think it all depends on what happens with Yakuza 0. Play through that, and once you finish that game, or you're pretty well through it, I feel like you'll know. You'll know if it's like, I'm in, or you're not.
Yeah.
I feel like...
It's all downhill from 0.
Hey, Kiwami 2 is fantastic.
All right.
That's
so good.
Tier.
Absolutely incredible.
But if you're vibing with what Yakuza 0 is throwing at you, you gotta keep playing the games.
Yep.
All right. Final thoughts before we wrap this up.
I think next week's got to be the Odies, the full Odies, because it's Christmas Day episode. We're recording it early. I think we got to do it.
You're just not giving me enough time to play through these games. It's not even the end of the year yet.
Just plow through, man.
I know that the Game Awards does it.
Beat its day.
Most podcasts and websites they're doing their game of the year stuff this week.
Yeah.
Jumping the gun, man. You gotta
they all beat Yakuza already.
They did.
They're responsible.
Drop 8 hours into the management sim. Just played through the game.
Well, last year when we did the Odies, I had not finished what became my game of the year, which was Star Wars. I had not quite finished that game yet when we did it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll hash it out. But no matter what, there will be some awards. We have biggest surprises and disappointments from the big 3 companies, which we've done before.
Oh, gee, I wonder what my biggest disappointment's going to be.
From the big 3?
We have from the big 3. And we could do a general one, too, on top of
Okay, I was going to say, I don't...
Nintendo, Sony, or PlayStation.
Can they all be Cyberpunk? Like, how's this?
Yeah.
Multiplayer.
So we got that.
Xbox and Sony.
Yep.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun wrap up to the year. And then, of course, as we roll into predictions and hopes and anticipated games, it's a fun time. It's a fun time to be an OD listener.
We'll have to talk about our predictions, whether or not they came true for this year.
And the games that we plan to beat this year. We'll have the Odies, and we'll have a year-end recap as well, probably when we get into
Yep.
the new year. As like once the year is completely over, we'll do that year-end recap of just goals.
Yeah,
and
it'll be good.
and things. Yeah. Guess my final thought is I'm just waiting to get my copy of Cyberpunk 2077 so I can immediately return
Send it right back.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's going to be a process.
Don't even take it out.
Because I guess with international shipping, like I requested a refund while it was out. I don't think it even left the U.S. yet. So the process, I assume, is going to be they're going to give it to me. I'll get it. I will open up the package, drop in the return slip into the package, seal the package back up, and go back to the post office and send it back home.
Nice.
What a mess.
Sure.
What a mess that game is. My God.
Are you going to have to pay shipping to the States, or
Amazon's
is it
pretty
already
nice
covered?
about that. They give you like a stipend, and I assume that once they get the final amount that it was charged, they give you that back, which is pretty nice.
That's good.
So, I mean, I'll update you if that changes, if my process turns into crap, but it seems like it's pretty simple. All right, that is going to do it for us on this week's episode of OD Games. Next week, the Odies. Look forward to that.
The Odies!
The second annual Odies Award will be given out next week. So look forward to that. We're here on Fridays on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, other podcast streaming services that you may use. The video version of the podcast is up every week on YouTube on the weekends, so you can check it out there if you want the video podcast version of that on the OD Games YouTube page. We're on Twitter at OD Games, Twitch, OD Games as well. You can send an email to odgamescast@gmail.com. For Logan and Zach, I'm Kevin. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.